Hi, I'm Garlic of the Urban Herb School in Vancouver, BC. Today we are here in the beautiful forest of North Vancouver because I'd like to introduce all of you to my second favorite wild spring edible, which is the Streambank Violet. First, I want to point out that there's a lot of water here. You can hear the river in the background. There's a little stream just in front of me here. It's a very wet place. It's fairly dark and shaded. And the smell of the earth here is really rich and kind of intoxicating. And I love to come here in the spring because it really awakens my senses. And I get to eat violets, and these beautiful yellow violets. So I'm describing all of this because it's the first clue in how to find these plants. Violets really like water. They like moist soil. We got to look in the dark places, the sort of shady places, and the wet places when we're going to find it. So we don't have a huge window as wild foragers to be out there stalking these foods. The violets out in the wild, maybe you get them for a month. You've got roughly the window of April to get out. Today, we're going to talk about how to identify these. There's a look-alike, and I want to make sure that you know the difference, because the other one isn't so good to eat. I'm going to tell you a bit about why I eat this and how, and then I'll share with you some of its traditional uses. So, let's talk about identification of this little beauty. So the easiest way to identify this plant is by its flower. So the wild one that's around here is yellow. There's a couple of different yellow ones. There's also white varieties. And more commonly in people's gardens is another violet called Johnny Jump Ups. And they have this beautiful purple-blue kind of color to them. They all have 5 parts, 2 kind of ears on top, 2 big cheeks out to the side, and a big chin or a big tongue. And they all have these little lines painted on them, which is actually there to attract the pollinators that are perfect for this flower. The next thing to notice is that it has heart-shaped leaves that often grow in pairs around the base of the flower. One larger and one smaller on its opposite side. The third identification piece is the stolon, because the look-alike, its root system is different. Now, a stolon is basically a root that goes under just a little and then curls and goes along parallel to the surface of the soil, but not very deep. And where the leaves pop out and the stems are, there will always be a bunch of them. This plant likes to grow in groups rather than just a single leaf or a pair of leaves in a flower. Often, in fact, you can follow them back and see that they're connected to other plants, and there will be a whole patch sometimes connected entirely. Now, when you're out walking, you might come across something that looks sort of like that, which is a plant that you don't want to be eating, called false lily of the valley. False lily of the valley has a bit of a heart-shaped leaf as well. It tends to be larger, and it has on it, when you look at the veins running down it, they're parallel. When you compare it to the violet leaves, you see that it's a whole network of veins in the leaf. That's the key way to know that they're not the same plant. But another way, just in case that's not enough, Streambank Violet doesn't flower at the same time. The false lily of the valley has this really pretty white flower spike. So false lily of the valley has 1 or 2 stems coming out of the root, not a whole bunch. So let's talk about violets as food. I eat this plant because I just love it. The taste is fairly subtle. The smell, again, fairly subtle. But there's something about it that makes my mouth and my body just happy when I eat it. So now the usual way that I eat this is just raw. When I'm out walking, I'm constantly nibbling it whenever it's around. Sometimes I'll gather a bagful and take it home for salad. It looks fantastic in a salad, and it adds a really nice depth. The texture of it is quite unique as well. It's kind of slippery, a little bit like an egg white, but not that gooey. It just has this slipperiness that feels good as it slides down. I've steamed the leaves and then just dusted them in some confection sugar, which is an old recipe to make candied violet leaves, and they were amazing. They have this real sourness to them. They're quite high in vitamin C and vitamin A, and that's not really why I eat them. For me, it's about a wild food, and it's just so beautiful, and it really captures me, sometimes leaving me speechless. Another way that I bring this food into my diet and my food practice is that I'll gather up a bag full, I'll take them home, I'll chop them up, the whole plant, including a bit of the root, put it in a jar, cover it with apple cider vinegar, and I'll shake it every day for 2 weeks, usually 2 weeks, because then I get excited, but wait a month if you can do it, and then squeeze it through some cheesecloth and use that as a salad dressing, or use that when you're cooking, and it's so, so delicious. And you get to sneak the herbs into your kid's diet, or if you've got somebody who's a bit of a finicky or picky eater, you can hide it in the vinegar. Okay, so let's talk medicinal uses of violet. Now, I've told you about all the ways that I eat violet, and the truth is that that's how I take it. I don't actually take it as medicine. I just eat it as much as I can when it's around. But it has a long history. In fact, if you go into most health food stores and look on the back of the bottle of a cough syrup, quite likely you're going to find violet root listed there. A few studies have shown that violet is really effective at reducing tumors. So it's being used by some herbalists in their cancer treatment regimen. So now you've been introduced to violet, and I'm going to invite you to come out and meet the living plant. Because it's one thing for me to tell you about it, and it's another thing for you to be here yourself, taste it, smell it. It's a whole different experience. When you come out, if you're going to be doing some foraging, remember to take only what you need, to leave lots, and to tread lightly, because it's a delicate plant and a delicate ecosystem. If you can't make it out to the woods, then keep your eyes out around the city, because there's a purple violet that might be in your garden, it might be in your grass, or it might be in the park nearby. So if you'd like more information about wild foraging in Vancouver or about herbalism in general, check out my website, urbanherbschool.ca. If you've got questions or your own foraging stories that you want to share, I'd love to hear them. And keep your eyes out for more videos, because we're coming back. We'll see you all next time. Bye now.